Can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watch were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof to the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
And now, boys and girls, let me hear you recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Since I was a small boy, 2 states have been added to our country, and 2 words have been added to the Pledge of Allegiance: under God. Wouldn't it be a pity if someone said that is a prayer and that would be eliminated from schools too?
They've torn Portland all to pieces and let Chicago go to hell. There's people leaving New York City like they rang the fire bell. They call themselves enlightened, canceled those who don't agree. I wish all these folks who claim they're woke would just go back to sleep. I'm just saying, have we all lost our minds? I'm just saying, where do we draw the line? I know y'all think it takes balls to be singing what I'm singing, but I'm just saying what you're thinking. I believe in live and let live. We're all free to each their own. If you were born a he but wanna be a she, do your thing, but leave my kids alone. I'm just saying, have we all lost our minds? I'm just saying, where do we draw the line? I know y'all think it takes balls to be singing what I'm singing, but I'm just saying what you're thinking. We send them off to college to get them educated. They send them back to us indoctrinated. And how much are we paying? I'm just saying, have we all lost our minds? I'm just saying, where do we draw the line? No offense, but common sense the direction that I'm leaning. Some of y'all think it takes balls to be singing what I'm singing, but I'm just saying what you're thinking. Yeah, what you're thinking.
Happy hump day, everyone. Dean, by the way, thank you for being on board. I saw you made a comment saying, hey, y'all. Where do I begin? First off, yes, this opening is going to be long like this. It's something that I believe in. I believe in our national anthem. I believe in our Pledge of Allegiance, and I believe in this song. I mean, this song says exactly what I feel. I'm just saying what you're thinking, and I'm pretty sure we're all on the same page. And as always, I like to start out the program with, of course, my Pledge of Allegiance. Which is, I pledge of allegiance to the Constitution of the United States of America and to the republic for which the flag stands, one nation under Almighty God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You know, folks, we have got to get back to being a constitutional country. We are watching these people destroy it. But before I go on, I've got not one, but two. And the first one is, for my quote, an investment in knowledge pays the best interest. Benjamin Franklin. What did he mean by that? Well, basically, if you get a good education, you're going to learn. And when you learn, you will apply those things to the best of your ability that will be of great interest to you. Hopefully, you'll do the positive thing in doing so. But I couldn't stop there. You know, Ben Franklin had so many, I had to put in still another one because that's what this program is about. This program is going to be about the educational system here in the United States and in my little town. But educate your children to self-control, to the habit of holding passion and prejudice and evil tendencies, subject to an upright and reasoning will. And you will have done much to abolish misery from their future and crimes from society. Notice what that just said, from their future and the crimes of society. Because if everyone was on that page, just like we are, if everyone was on that page, our crime in our society would stop. It would slow down. It would diminish. And so I've made this comment to a few people lately. And hey, Ruth, glad to see you all. And that's why people think we live in. Oh, Dean, you know, I have to tell you, we have had so much censorship. I was wanting to read a piece from Glenn Beck. Apparently, he's off of the Apple podcast. It's gone. And let me see if I can bring that up real quick because I was very impressed, of course, always impressed. But this is from the desk of Glenn Beck. Friend, my jaw nearly hit the floor when I heard the news. Earlier today, I was notified that my podcast has been removed from Apple Podcast, and Apple gave us no warning or an explanation. We're trying to get this issue resolved, but as of the time I'm writing this email, my podcast is still unavailable on Apple. I'm sure they'll come back and say this was caused by some kind of a glitch, but I'm also sure these glitches are going to become more and more common as we get to the election. Big tech will do everything they can to silence anyone trying to tell you the truth. That would be me, by the way. I try to. I really do try. But they do not want you listening to me or people like me. That would be Glenn Beck saying that. And I'm saying that as well. There's only one way you can ensure that you always have access to my show, and that is by becoming a Blaze TV subscriber. So, you know, folks, censorship is right here. And censorship works in many different ways, not only with big technology. We've got, for instance, media. In fact, I believe it was Carrie Lake, I believe, was actually wanting to talk to Washington Post and to the New York Times in a stabled area where there were cows and bulls and basically farmland. And she's sitting on a stool getting ready to milk a cow. And she says to the reporter from the New York Times, says to her, there are two genders, right? And the reporter said, I am not allowed to talk about that. And she goes, well, guess what? You can milk a cow, but try milking a bull. And, you know, I thought to myself, that is probably one of the most simplistic, and I mean really simple ways of distinguishing a male from a female. It's biological sciences doesn't change that. It's there for the taking. So, with that being said, we are in a situation here in our country where the learning process has been, well, let's just say it's well, parents have no rights, and the teachers technically are now adopting our children, and they are giving them all kinds of garbage rather than teaching just mutual self-respect in the school and the simple ABCs and the arithmetic and the math and the writing. They're not doing a darn thing. I intend to run for governor. I don't think I'm going to get elected. I want to be elected because how hard can that job be? You're given and presented problems, and you have to delegate to people that responsibility of handling those problems. But the first thing I would do as governor, the very first thing I will do, I will give the citizens of Missouri 2 hours every single month to have dialogue with me. It's about time we start having that much transparency. And if a question is asked of me, I will be more than glad to turn around and direct them to the right department for which to get that answer. Because that's what governing is. It's basically knowing a problem and seeing where you have to go with it and what department has to handle it. And then you have to figure out in that department whether those people are qualified and doing their jobs, their tasks, the best they possibly can. And more importantly, for the people. That's right out of the gate. Second thing that I like to do is I want to beef up law and order. I want cops to have all the resources possible. Now, don't get me wrong. Y'all know me pretty well. I'm not a big fan of the police. Not at all. I know they have a job to do, and I just don't want to be in trouble with them. I'll leave it at that for the moment. But we do need that law and order in order to maintain a structured civil society. And if we don't have the law and order within our state first, everything else goes to crap. Simple as that. The next thing I like to do is I like to look at the different public officials. There's got to be a way somewhere along the line when you have a prosecuting attorney who is actually in favor of the criminals, who is protecting the criminals, giving them all kinds of breaks with bail, sentencing, the whole 9 yards, and letting them get out of free cards. We need to hold those prosecuting attorneys accountable. And the best way I can say it, I think Donald said it very well during The Apprentice. You're fired. And that's what should happen to some of these prosecuting attorneys. A very close look at what they're not doing and why they're not protecting the victims and why they are allowing the criminals back on the streets in such a short time to continue with their bad, ill behavior. Now, let's talk about some of the politicians of the state. The number one on my target right now, well, I got two. Number one on my target right now is Cori Bush of St. Louis, Congress, I believe she is. I got to tell you, that woman has security all around her, while St. Louis is taking a bloodbath pretty much daily, just like all these other Democratic-ran cities. And she endorses pulling the criminals out and being lenient on them. Yes, there are certain cases, in my opinion, that need to be really looked at. Everyone and anyone that has marijuana situation, they need to be booted out right away. That's a fact. So with that being said, Cori Bush needs to be ousted. We've got to figure out a way of holding her accountable to the fact that she does not, has not, and will not take her oath of office for the people. And so that right there is a start. But my next one that I really want to get into, I wanted to talk about one of my representatives. Right now is not the moment, but I will be talking about this person. And in short, right now, I think probably the next best thing that needs to be looked at and addressed immediately is the NEA, the National Education Association. We need to get them the hell out. Here we go. Here we go. Yes, you're saying it right. Hell, Democrats are silencing other Democrats who don't agree with them. RFK. I absolutely love RFK because running for office for the Democratic Party, I got to give the guy credit. He's fighting a big battle. And this guy, by the way, and I do, if I was a Democrat, I'd be leaning towards RFK in a blink of an eye. Not even think twice. Because really, I was listening to a radio station today. And our biggest problem here in America right now, across the board, is the election process. And what we have to do is get all, notice what I just said, we need to wipe out the Democratic Party. And that means state by state by state, wipe them out. They can't be in office. They can't continue to be in office of Senate and or Congress. We need to get rid of these mayors that are Democrat. We need to get rid of the governors that are allowing all this under their governorship of how they run and operate their states. And so to me, the burden is on the governor to see to it that the NEA, for instance, is basically gone. We need to privatize our schooling. We needed to use state funds and stop depending on big government. We have to do that. If we don't do that, we're just going down further down in that rabbit hole. Ruth just said she got 90-day restriction a few minutes ago for sharing the truth. Hear that, folks? For sharing the truth. And it was about the Michigan voter fraud. Really. And you know what? I'm going to flat out say, Ruth, God bless you for doing it. And we need to get this out. We need to get these messages of the Common Denominator Network and whole. Love to see people share them out, please. I really do. But the elections are the most important. And we know right now, not one, not two, not three, not four. We've got 4 indictments that Donald Trump has to go to from New York, Washington, D.C., Georgia, and Florida. He's going to be on a campaign trail fighting for Americans, and he's going to have to do so going in and out of court. And I mean this, in and out of court. It's going to be a very tough road. But every time something comes up, the man's numbers seem to go up. And it's like people are, in fact, waking up on the blue pill side or blue pillow, and they're realizing this ain't working. We know we've got a vicious, corrupt government in office right now. I don't care what anyone says. We have Hunter's laptop. We've got conversations. We've got text messages. We've got pictures of. And really, it can't be said any better. It can't be said any better than this next piece that I'm hoping to present to you. So it's a TikTok piece. But, you know, it's one of those things that you just say, on this day, I'm looking for here we go. I'm looking for it, and we're going to share this. And now I'm going to play it. Well, maybe not. Yep, I couldn't play it. Don't know why. I mucked that up somehow. So basically what it is, they are a Manchurian Chinese criminal family. They have been bought and sold many times over. They know where the money's at with the Bidens. By the Bidens, China has bought the Bidens out. And Bidens have completely completely sold our country out. In fact, they've sold our country out so bad, it's gotten to the point that when you look at what just happened last week in Hawaii with the fire in Lihani, I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly, hundreds of people are dead, a little over 100 right now. Many are missing. And the sad part about it is Joe Biden will not go there because he feels he'd be like getting in the way of everyone. But believe it or not, he's actually offering $700 to each of those individuals that have been caught up in this fire. Yep, $700. That's nothing to help our American people on that island. That, by the way, is a major military stronghold for us. That's why it's so crucial. We should take care of them better than we are Ukraine. Another $24 billion has gone to Ukraine. Folks, we are really, some of these, this just came in, Dean. Yes, perfect example of a weaponized justice system. These indictments only prove that Biden's administration cheated in 2020. And you are 100% correct. Yeah, Dean, think about that. Where are they going to spend it? There's nothing there. I've seen the pictures. If anyone has been paying attention to real news, in this case, I have only watched it and seen it on Fox. Apparently, no one else is showing it. There's nothing left. There is nothing left. The fires destroyed everything right down to the ground. What are these people going to do with that $700? What are they going to spend it on? Give me a flipping break. We need emergency funding there. We need to help people there. We need to come together as a nation. And, you know, when we as individuals can start foundations for or start a GoFundMe process for, right now, there's more money going into that state on the private level of people, of good American citizens that, thank goodness, they can afford this. They are sending it over there to help those people out. But this is our president. He won't go over there. He's going to Nevada today, this afternoon, taking off on his helicopter, and he never would answer a question by any of the reporters about Hawaii. This is where we need to really get together. Yeah, and we do. We, the people, have a GoFundMe going on there, and they do. They do. You know, the thing is, it's the education, though. It's that's the, to me, that's the crux of our future for our children. Send in flights with food, water, tents, porting. Yeah, they should be doing that, Dean. But the government isn't doing that, believe it or not. This is probably the most heartless administration I think I've ever. I can't wrap my head around the hatred that this man and this White House has for the American people. And if you think for one moment that the FBI is doing a good job, that the DOJ is doing a good job, that DHS is doing a good job, and that our educational people are doing a good job, transportation included, these people are not doing a damn thing for America. And we have got to vote them out. Really get to vote them out. We have got to get rid of them. So going back to the opening of what my what my quote was, and again, I'm gonna put this back up. An investment in knowledge pays the best interest. You are going to get so much. There was a time in my life when I used to say, I don't have a dog in a fight with education, so I can't be involved. I don't have a kid. I never had a child, so on and so forth. I really thought that was the case, but believe it or not, God could not have blessed me with a finer man. I know everyone's kids are good. I get it. But, you know, we all, and I have heard many parents say this to me, gosh, I just hope my kids grow up good. Or some have even said, I hope my kids grow up better and better than me. And right now, I can honestly say my son is a better man, especially at the tender age of 34. Yeah, I say tender like, well, it's new to me and it's new to him. But the bottom line is, he could have taught me some things. I'm pretty unfiltered. I think most of you know that. I have no shame at all. But he thinks much deeply before he says anything. That is one quality I really wished I could have had in my lifetime. My big mouth has gotten me in a lot of hot water. Truly has. And at the same time, I speak my piece. It makes me happy to do so. And we all should be able to do that. All of us. So, here we go. I'm going to go back here and see what we've got going on. Here we go. I wonder how much of these big companies that had made money, hand over fist during COVID, are sending supplies to Maui. Not only that, but you just wonder what companies are doing it. I can almost tell you none of the woke companies are. Why? Because they're going broke. You look at Bud Light, Budweiser, they're going broke. There we go. Put that back up. The quote. You want the quote? Okay, yes, I will do that. An investment in knowledge pays the best interest. But, getting back to what Dean was just now saying, we have these companies that are huge, huge companies that could, in fact, help these people. But they're going to get on board. There's going to be certain companies that will get on board. And I'm going to tell you, it's going to be a beautiful day in Maui or in Lahala again. It will. We just have to help those people right now. And if we don't, we're only hurting ourselves. So what is it about me feeling so good about my son at this point in my life? I don't want to say I have bragging rights because he is a self-made man. No father figure. And his disciplines and principles through the Bible and Jesus and God have guided him and put him where he is today. And he's in a beautiful spot. And I am, again, so proud. Well, what is it that we need to do with our children that gets them the very best for their education? We need to attend school board meetings. About 4 or 5 weeks ago, I'm going to say, I reached out to our mayor on a Thursday afternoon, I think it was, Becky Curtis of Cameron, Missouri. And I said to her, why is it that the school board meetings and the city council meetings are held on the same night? If I have something I wish to, of a concern that I wish to inform these two places, two entities of, I have to pick and choose which one to go to. And that ain't right. But really, the underlining reason for it was to censor people. Because people are afraid to be active in their community. They're afraid that they won't be heard. They won't be taken seriously. And, that's true. That's true. Oh, here we go. Bush Beer used to send water to hurricane victims. I wonder if they are doing that. It would be interesting to hear, Dean, really. Because I remember that they really stepped up down there in Florida and in Georgia and several other places around the country at times. But getting back to what I was saying, what is it that is missing? Well, I'll tell you what's missing is a parent's right to speak. And in this case, taxpayers' right to speak. Right now, the school board will not allow anyone from outside the school district to come into and talk at a school board meeting. Oh, by the way, the school board meeting has been now offset by Tuesday nights. So now you could go to one and the other monthly without having a conflict of concerning interest to speak with at one or the other. That's a great move, by the way. And yes, that's what I think maybe a governor would do. I think maybe. But what really I felt good about was being able to speak to Chief Rick Basher of the Cameron Police Department. I cannot say enough good things about that man. Yes, that's Arabic. My mind and my words and my heart are open to you about this man. He's a great police chief. And I'll tell you, I'm not a fan, again, of police chiefs, but he is a really good police chief. And you're absolutely right. David Elisa, you are absolutely right. This is not right for the citizens. The citizens should have an active role and where their concerns are and be able to go comfortably. Now, getting back to Police Chief Rick Basher, I called him up. I don't go to police office station too often. I kind of stay away from them for the minute. But we had a great dialogue. And I told him, I said, I think this was a great move because he can focus all his police law enforcement agents on that one meeting in the event that things go awry. And we know that there are lunatics out there. Oh, do we have a couple lunatics? I do not wish to mention, by the way, my future ex-wife, Nicole. Yeah, she's one of those lunatics. And I'm not going to go any further than that. But anyway, if you kept up with my timeline, you know who that thing is. Anyway, we've got these lunatics that just might do something that's nefarious, and at least they can focus. So that is actually working with the city, working with the police officers, as well as working within and for the community of citizens. Very, very, very well. It needs to be a well-oiled machine. So last night I had the fortunate opportunity to, believe it or not, go on to what was called a school board meeting. They were a little stunned and shocked, I believe. They were a little stunned and shocked about, let me see if I can pull this up. Yes, I'm doing so. They were a little stunned and shocked about still the voices that are out there that want to say something. And so we did have a couple people chime in. And I'm going to give you the chime in. I'm going to share with you the chime in. This is going to be beautiful. Well, it is. This is what a good citizen does. Okay. And I'm just going to say it like that. This is what a good citizen does because
Mr. Gilbert has come to speak to the board.
Because this is what being a concerned citizen is. And so I'm going to get my
tonight about enforcing and following approved board policy. Mr. Gilbert, you'll have 5 minutes to address the board.
I would like to begin my address by renewing my complaint that you are discriminating against my viewpoint by prohibiting me from mentioning a school district employee in the job performance during my address today. This very individual I want to mention was praised and thanked at a recent board meeting of education by Mr. Dan Kircher here relating to that same job performance. You did not stop Dan from speaking about personnel, but you have preemptively stopped me. You are discriminating against my viewpoint. While you receive district reports from various administrators, you permit district employees to name and praise one another relating to their jobs. You allow district employees and board members to exercise their freedom of speech, but not me. You are violating my First Amendment right and discriminating against my viewpoint because you do not believe that you will like what I say. Since September of 2022, I have seen an alarming trend of ignoring and failing to enforce district policy by the district and the Board of Education. I have reported numerous instances of failure to comply with the law and policy to the district. The response that I receive, if I receive any response at all, is something, no further action is required, and the board's decision is final. It is clear that you are not correcting these individuals behind the scenes because I keep having to make the same exact complaints month after month. It's not being fixed. It's being ignored. The district continues to violate the same laws and policies, and you do nothing to correct it. All school district employees are contractually obligated to follow policy. Some are contractually obligated to enforce policy and make sure their subordinates follow it. This isn't happening, and the body knows it and ignores it. While ignoring policy violation of district employees, you insist that I follow policy. I don't work for you. You have no dominion over me. The district is on record stating it knows the vast majority of the books that I am finding in the high school library were not added in compliance with district policy. Currently, the board and the district are demanding district policy is followed while the books are being reviewed. Even with a clear case of conflict of interest, you insist on sticking to policy and ignore the conflict of interest. If those books were not added in accordance with district policy, they shouldn't be there. Policy wasn't followed. You want to follow policy, let's follow policy. Your task as member of the board is to hold those you put in positions of administrators accountable. You are also responsible to the citizens to ensure all binding agreements in employment contracts are fulfilled. But you do not. You are selective in this duty and fail to consistently uphold this responsibility without bias. Your actions appear to benefit and protect the district and not the tax-paying public who elected you. Your loyalties are misplaced. I do not see a body of men and women who take their oaths and responsibilities as board members seriously. I see a bunch of feckless bobbleheads who do the bidding of the Missouri School Board Association and the superintendent of the school district. I'm here once again to demand accountability. Do your job, or step aside. Thank you.
You know, that is the way I have to tell you about Mr. Heath Gilbert. He's a very, very close friend of mine. I have met a lot of people in my life, but his articulation, his directness, his poignancy, his respectful dialogue, although you can rest assured my dialogue would not be even close to being that respectful, but he is very respectful and he's knowledgeable. He knows of what he's speaking of, and he's doing this for the people of Cameron. This is just one man. I hope you'll go back and maybe listen to this another time, but you know, he's a very humble man, and he's asking them to just do one thing: do their jobs, follow their oath of office, and follow the policies that have been put in place. Now, don't get me wrong, there are policies right now. Superintendent, anyone that lives outside the school district is not allowed to go and speak at the school board at all. If they do, they will be asked to be removed if they don't live in the district. There's going to come a moment I'm going to push that button. I have to. Because, see, I'm a tax-paying citizen of the state. And that is, to me, gives me every right to go to any city council meeting, to go to any school board meeting, to go really anywhere in a public forum of talking about governance, and to have my word spoken. And yes, thank you, Heath, for your true grit. A lot of you know who Heath is. He, again, a remarkable man. I can't wait to have him come back on. It may take a little bit longer. See, even we have to listen to certain people. In this case, his First and 14th Amendment rights, his civil rights were violated. He's got them lock, stock, and barrel, folks. Those fish are in the barrel. All he has to do is just pick them up and just put them in the frying pan. And that is a good place to be. So in the meantime, he can't come on and discuss anything. And I'm hurt about that because I love the dialogue with Heath, most definitely. But the thing is, until this matter is cleared, hopefully he can come on. And really, folks, this story is just getting deeper and deeper and deeper. Heath, Dan Landy, Heath Gilbert, Travis Eldridge, Joyce Tigner, myself, several other people, Colleen and Lonnie Hardy, big shout out to you, Paula Allen as well. We exposed a librarian who said she's bribing kids to read books from Hope in the Box. There we go, folks. Hope in the Box. What So if you're an attorney from out of town, are they going to? I would probably, that's a very good question, Dean. So if you hire an attorney from out of town, are they going to kick that attorney out? That's a very good question, Dean. That may have to be put to a test. I think I'd like to have my civil rights violated first, just because they shouldn't be able to do it. But anyway, getting back to what I'm saying, because we exposed that teacher, and we know that this is wrong, and there was one book that had pictures, which definitely fell within the guidelines of the Missouri statutes of 550.573.550 of distributing pornography pictures to children. There is one book for sure. And yet the prosecuting attorney so far in Plattsburgh, south of Clinton County, apparently she's not going to do anything about it. I guess at the moment, she's just putting a little freeze on it, putting it on ice. But this is a thing. Where did that book come from? I'm hoping she's going to do her job. I'm hoping. But that book came from Hope in the Box. And you guys ought to look that up. Okay? Oh, goodness. He just said, I got a feckless bobblehead video clip made and uploaded. Well, Heath, I wish I had my buddy here next to me, Chad. Maybe he could get it on there. Love to check it out. But getting back to this organization, it is it's publicly donated funds, and they distribute books. But here's the clincher to these books. When you are from a school, you have to use a school email address. You have to identify yourself, what your capacity is, so on and so forth. And then you have to write a 200, 300, 400-word essay on why you think books on homosexuality, gender identification, and a whole host of all kinds of stuff, rape, assault, you name it, is good for children to learn. So what do we have to do? We have to try to put in a sunshine law request to say we want all email transactions between Hope in the Box and Miss Tanya Boyles. Yeah, she doesn't like me. I'm quite confident of it. But I can speak of this firsthand because it's a truth. And you can't deny truth. When you hear it, you see it, and you have watched it on previous podcasts here. Her doing what she's doing. When are these people going to be held accountable? When? I just think that you have to stand strong. You're going to have to elect and really pay attention to what's going on, folks. About my President Trump is under indictments. It makes me want him that much more. And if you remember listening to Joe Biden about 2 years ago almost, he's going to do everything in his power to see to it that Donald Trump does not get able to run for office or elected president. He's doing everything in his power. And that's because he has lock, stock, and barrel. He's got the FBI, DOJ, DHS. He has the ATF. He has them all. And how can this be? We know that he's a criminal. We know his son's a criminal. We know that you look at the vice president. I'll just say with the GoFundMe page for criminals and a death resulting in the third bail release of one of these criminals that she helped get back out of jail, killing an innocent citizen. She, again, should be held accountable. Folks, we got to do our due diligence, but it starts in our homes. It starts with our children. You've heard Michael Jackson, and I loved Michael Jackson, by the way. Loved Michael Jackson. Do not believe loved Michael Jackson. In short, he loved kids. Trust me, he was a good man. My firm belief. Anyway, the children are our future. And get this through your heads. Kids are our future. Our grandchildren are our future. We have to give them responsibilities, i.e. example, you've got to clean up your room. You've got to wash up before you come to the dinner table. Oh, dinner tables. Let's think about doing that a little bit more often instead of saying, hey, here's $5, go on your bike and go down to McDonald's, which so many people do. And I'm quite confident the folks that are watching here, I already know. I'm positive, not have been in your homes, but I know you have great moral roots. And the moral roots have to start in the household. It really does. We can want and hope that the teachers will teach respect, but they're not doing that. Instead, they're doing something that's totally, well, let's just say, again, they're doing something that they're trying to replace the parents by taking away the rights of the parents and adopting our kids. That's what I call this little procedure that they're doing. And so I'm going to share this with you, and I do. I want to read this to you because part of that. Here we go. I think you're going to enjoy this. So let me go back here. I'm going to see how we look on the screen. Okay, there we go. I'm going to get rid of myself. Hope to use social skill instruction to address behavior, discipline, safety, and academics to help kids become self-aware, manage their emotions, build social skills like empathy, perspective taking, appreciating differences, form good relationships, and make positive decisions. They don't mention, by the way, critical thinking. Something that's very important. In short, I'm going to put myself on the screen because I know you guys probably want to see. There we go. You know, it's just unbelievable. In short, says Joan Duffel, executive director of the Committee for Children, these are the skills that allow children to calm themselves when angry, make friends, resolve conflicts respectfully, and make ethical and safe choices. As the focus on SEL develops, here are the top 5 things that you should know. SEL is more than a classroom management. Typical classroom management involves rules, consequences, and motivations or rewards. But SELS is more than a set of class rules. It's a plan to help kids be nice, or a school-wide pledge to be kind and caring. While those ideas are terrific, says Duffel, they need to be backed up with time that is set aside in the classroom for evidence-based instruction, SEL instruction. In the school, the NSEL program, students are involved in creating the school environment, writing rules. Get this? It's kind of like letting the criminals be in charge of a prison. Let's face it, kids aren't good about writing rules. At least I know I wouldn't have been, because they would have been beneficial to me only. Anyway, getting on to this and deciding on consequences. Again, punishments, whatever. So and that's just the first paragraph of this. And again, this comes from education.com. I'm going to go on to the second one. The SEL might not be enough for every child. Social and emotional circumstances are designed to help all the kids in the class. The idea of a universal program is that it starts to change the norm behaviors, and that a rising tide can shift all boats. Still, some of the kids will struggle more than others. That's where they need some special attention. I know I was one of those kids. I had every mental disease or whatever it was down the block. I guarantee you, I got my butt whooped once a week, maybe even twice. And I'm proud to say that I don't think I had more than 3 a week. But seriously, we need to be stricter with children in home. This is not something that teachers should be teaching and going above again, improve more than just their social skills. For kids to quote unquote be writing rules and setting the consequences, that's not a good move. I cannot even fathom the thought of a child making their own decisions on certain matters. And it's coming to a classroom near you. Recently, the Secretary of Education, Arne Duncan, announced that he was considering including climate in school evaluations under the reauthorization of the Elementary and Secondary Education Act. The Obama administration is proactively addressing school climate, says Luther, and is in the process of developing school climate programs when reading and writing were the focus. Once school climate is part of the federal policy, schools will be more inclined to start proving the SEL programs. And now, ultimately, folks, I've got to tell you, 3 people showed up at the Cameron High School school board meeting as far as citizens. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I believe I could be wrong, but the vast majority and all of them that were in the seats with us, patting themselves, walking up to the podium, breaking their arms on how great they are and how great the school's doing. Where are the parents? You really can't find the time, Cameron. I'm pleading to the community right now for a moment. You can't find the time to come. But this SEL program is going to depend on parent involvement for success. Ultimately, says another person, I can't even, Maurice Elias, doctor and director of developing safe and social civil schools with Rutgers University, he says, SEL takes place within the context of safe school, family, and community environments. So as your child starts school or develops an SEL program, you can expect to be involved. I think that's a wonderful thought process. And I think if more parents were involved in their homes with the fractured families we have nationwide, I think maybe some of these kids would they really would. I do believe that some of these kids would stand a chance. It's a pretty good read. Folks, I really hope that it's education.com and you can learn what social emotional learning is. This is something that parents across the board should be teaching their kids within their own homes. So that is why I'm trying to let you know the parents' rights are being taken away. And these people are stepping in to do that. This is not a good way of learning. I think it's wonderful, maybe consequences, maybe you could give a child consequences. I'll tell a story that I told once before, I believe, on here. And if I haven't, then this is great. And I do repeat myself sometimes, but I had a little girl, a grandbaby, by the way, in my life. She's about 4 years old at that time. Not my grandbaby, but a grandbaby. And believe it or not, I had just come back off the road, 6-8 month tour, and my van was stuffed and I needed to unpack. And she said, Papa Vinzent, can you come? Can I come out and help you? And I said, baby doll, you can, but I'll be back in about 30 minutes. I'll be in and you and I will play. Well, I went out to my van and I started moving around my tools and getting things together. And all of a sudden, here she is next to me. Now, I was parked across the street from the house. 4 years old, little Kate Lee was. Okay. And I looked at her. I said, And I looked around. I didn't see her father. I didn't see her grandmother. And I looked around. I said, how did you come across the street? Why are you here? And she put her head down. I said, what did you do before you crossed the street? She said, I looked both ways. That's what we taught her. I looked both ways, she said with a little grin, but she knew she did something wrong. And what was it that she did wrong? And I asked her, she said, you told me not to come out. I said, and I'll show you why. So I took an aluminum can, put it on the ground, and I took my big maul, 8-pound sledgehammer. And I took that thing by the handle and I said, see that can? She said, yeah. I said, just imagine that's your foot. And she goes, well, it's not my foot, it's a can. I said, yeah, but just imagine your foot right now. And I dropped that thing on there, crushed it. I crushed it. Wait till you hear how well I crushed it. And yeah, I'm going to brag on this one. I said to her, I said, okay, that would hurt, wouldn't it? And she said, yeah. I said, okay, we're going back in the house. You're getting a timeout. I took her by the hand. We looked left, we looked right, we looked left, and we crossed. And then when I got her in the house, I said, you pick a spot, but you're sitting there for 15 minutes. And she sat down. No gripes, no complaints, no nothing. Because the next thing she knew was she was going to get a piece of fruit. Now, why would I give a kid a piece of fruit after they just disobeyed me? I mean, I was lucky that little girl didn't get ran over by a car or a truck. I was lucky that that little girl didn't meet up maybe with a stray dog and get bitten. But she sat there and she said apple. I said, what do you want, an apple or orange or whatever it was? She said apple. And I said, went in the kitchen and I got some caramel out and I diced up the apple and I gave it to her. That there, friends, is food for thought. And that's what I told her. I'm offering you food for thought. I want you to think about what you did and why I'm upset and asking you to take 15 minutes to sit down. And I'll be in soon to play with you. By the time you're done sitting there, I'll be ready to come in and play. That's just a small little story. But you know, she never, ever, ever, until she got older in life, she never, ever crossed that street again, to my knowledge. And you know, oh gosh, oh my goodness. Yes, I'm going to go up to a couple of these. We went to, hey, pimp. I can't believe everyone's been, during the whole show. Hey, pimp. You want a response? Here we go. Did your response to my comment just get removed, Dean? I don't know. Anyway, Dean must have said they must be talking about something. You should read about the SEL from the organization who are fighting it. You really should. Because SEL is basically critical race theory on steroids. Okay? Dean said, okay. There we go. And, you know, Shelly, thank you. And the parents are clueless to it. You know, I asked a grown man, actually would be it was my stepson. I just met him for the first time last week. He's like 31 years old, something like that, 30. And he has a girlfriend, and they just had a baby together. They planned that. She has 3 children. Great. And he's embracing and accepting those children and raising his with her. They're doing things a little differently now across the board, across our country. Some don't get married ever, but they do plan on getting married and buying a house and all 9 yards. But, oh, hey, Richie, I figured, I thought that was kind of something. Well, never mind. No, good. Oh, Richie, you called me off guard. There I go with my big mouth. But no, I looked at him and I said, do parents make children or do adults make children or do children make adults? And you can usually understand a person's mindset from their answer. Unfortunately for me, he at first said adults make children. And I said, okay. It's a child that's 13, 14 having a baby. That is not an adult. That's a child. And when she has that child's going to make her an adult. And that is what rearing children is about. is teaching them to become good adults. I myself love the little ones I've had in my lifetime. Absolutely love them all. And, to see these little ones running around and sometimes stop, drop, and play is good. But when you tell them it's time to go to bed, they've got to go to bed. They need to get that rest. But we need to be a part of their life and give them a good reason why children make adults. In this case, with my stepson, it's not adults make children. We've got a lot of adults that make children. That's a fact. But it's the children who make those adults. And those adults should turn out to be respectful, responsible, dependable, reliable. As a man in the couple, 2 top things. Number 1, in my eyes, to provide and to protect. And they really don't go 1 or 2. They're just together. That's what the man of the house should do. Right now, I'm looking at a vast part of our country. When I traveled across, couldn't find many young kids working. Pretty much older people and even fast food joints. And when I say older people, I'm talking old people like me, and older, well into their 60s. That's pretty disheartening. Every now and then you do see a couple of young people, and they're realizing by working hard, they're going to get ahead. And boy, oh boy, some of them say, I wish I'd stayed in school. Believe it or not. Some do say that. Others will say, I'm going to finish school. Or others are actually working that job, going through school, paying their own student loans because they don't want to rely on the government. And that is what a good, successful, healthy life should be like for our children. We really, truly should. We should realize that the children are our future. They are our responsibility. The teachers should not. If my son, hypothetically, I had a son in school during those years, if I was there and I had a son in school, if he was a problem child, we talk about it with the principal. And we do come up with a plan of consequence. At least I would hope that I would have had that mind of sensibility or reasoning. I think I did anyway, because I was always rebellious anyway. But seriously, that's where it goes. And we cannot let, and I mean this, we cannot let these teachers do more damage to these kids. I found out recently that Matt Robinson, superintendent of the Cameron High School, just got like a $16,000, almost $17,000 raise, which means he now makes somewhere in the neighborhood of, I believe it would be near about $170,000 a year. He knew these books were coming into the school. He knew that back in August in 22, the lawyers told him to get rid of the books. He told O'Boyles to get rid of the books. He didn't follow up to see that she did her job and get rid of the books. But how do you give a man a raise of that much money when you look at the statistics and the ratio of the graduating class coming out barely at levels? And I'm talking now it's at like, I'm just going to say it like this. I don't have those stats perfect, but let's put it like this. Just so long as they're basically passing, and the passing level would be probably more like an F. The reading, the English, SAT scores, their overall scores. Kids aren't really learning what they're supposed to have learned. And with that comes pride in knowing that I'm going to grow up to be a doctor or an accountant. But some of these kids don't have faith in themselves. And I'm pretty sure it didn't start them not having faith and belief in themselves. I'm pretty sure it didn't start at 6 years old walking through the school, into school. It started with the parents. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's how I think about it. Think about that. It would start with us. Henceforth, I would hope that I would never, ever, ever have to spank my child again. Because after I would hope about 5, 6, maybe 7. That would be it. And if they really have problems, then you need to take them to some form of professional, therapist, counselor, what have you. The schools do have resources. And that was the thing. Teachers they gave you that falsehood of security, that they're looking out for your child, that they are the best thing for your kids. And yet, inadvertently, they're really, truly not. They're not doing a proper reporting of incidences within schools. They're not following protocol in schools. They are literally, in Cameron High School, they are literally doing a major disservice to this community. If I could say more, I would, but right now, the time just isn't right. And I think you can tell by my stress and intensity in my voice, I'm not BSing. The stuff that's about ready to come down is horrific. And it starts with the family, though. And I'm sure the good family and good families have incidences that occur. And I'm sure. All right. That's it, Richie. You and I are going on a ticket. We got to talk. We have got to talk. But getting back to this, we got that bad student or bad teacher, but people aren't following protocols. And that's where I'll go with that. And people are getting hurt. And people are getting angry when they're getting hurt. When I'm hurt, I get angry. When I get angry, I get frustrated. When I get frustrated, I literally get pissed off. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I can go ballistic. I have been known to. Always let them strike first because press the right buttons, they're going to feel froggy. Trust me, they will. Just watch the body language. Block and hit. They're done. But getting back to this, these teachers have lied technically to you. And what I really have to tell you now, folks, is going to blow all of your minds. At least I hope it does. I think one of my very first podcasts, I had mentioned in my society, the number one in my society are teachers. I said that with much respect and much reverence. In my lifetime growing up, that's what they were. They helped guide, mold, and teach me how to measure using a ruler, a measuring tape, numbers, mathematics, history about our world, being on current events, up to date, sciences. I had an interest for a moment of nursing. But it was the teachers I had during the 70s and the late 60s that were of that mindset. They wanted to see us boys grow up. And I was in an all-boys school, Girard College, military school. They wanted to see us grow up to be good men. Like I said, I was a knucklehead and a half, a moron and an idiot. Probably had, again, every mental disease there possibly was for bad behavior. I just needed the waffle paddle too many times, but I finally got through. It finally got through. So, folks, if you think that times have changed, I can honestly say times have definitely changed. I never thought in my entire life, I never thought I'd see what's going on in this country from the politicians, the government, the bureaucrats, the homeless people, the governances of major cities ran and operated technically mostly by Democrats that are completely garbage towns. I don't know how to say this, but I want to wear a tie-back suit. If I were to ever consider going out to Portland, Seattle, Chicago, LA, you name it. In fact, talking about tie-back suits, I just heard this last week. There's a very strong indication. You're going to like this, folks. They're not telling it on all the networks, but you're going to like this one. There are going to be possibly mask mandates being enforced in New York City. Not for COVID, tuberculosis, TB. I'm like 99.9% sure. I know what I read. I know what I saw. And that's coming. Why is there a big TB outbreak there? Or for that fact, beginning maybe in other cities as well. It's because we have so many illegal aliens. I don't call them migrants. I don't call them immigrants. They're illegal aliens from 150 plus countries around the world. They carry diseases. They haven't been vaccinated like we were when we were born or as we grew older, or maybe when we went in the military. Yes, they are all illegals. They really are. You know, I want to go up here and read what Dean said or better yet, back to Richie here. I'm running for president. I'm going to clean up the school system in America. Like I said, Richie, my first thing is get rid of the NEA. Get rid of that entity altogether. Here, Dean says, nah, that's when you make them work. If you're going to be a dumbass, you got to be tough. If you're going to be a dumbass, you got to be tough. My kids moved bricks, chopped woods, pulled weeds, shoveled mud, etc. You ever screw up so bad, you made your dad made you shovel mud. You know, when you screwed up so bad, your dad made you shovel mud or snow or gave you the dirtiest, rottenest jobs. But you know what? It sure beat the hell, I think, sometimes of really the forceful hit. And you guys know as well as I, Dean, I'm going to say it to you like this. Swat across the ass never hurt anyone. If you miss it, hit a thigh, big deal. But I never, ever, ever had a punch, slap, or fist in the face by any man. That I can honestly say. Now my birthing mother, so I can be the pronoun correct for the moment. She spawned me. She'd love to hear that too. Anyway, she did smack me several times in the face, particularly if I maybe used foul language or got a little out of line. But Dean's, oh, I love it. Dean Cerny, at least you didn't name them Sue. Chad, that's just so wrong. You're right though. Or Mary. I had an uncle that used to call me Mary. But seriously, you know, my mom smacked me a time or two in my face. I had soap in my mouth. I would love to hear everyone write down soap. Just write down if you've had soap in your mouth. Just write soap. Because I had soap not once, but twice. And I think I ended up with a smack the third time. So, you know, we have to teach these kids before they go in school, and we have to recognize whether or not they do have complications. And many seem to have a lot more stuff going on today than they did 40 years ago. I talked about this with Heath and several other friends of mine. Yes, it's like, what, 60, 70% of Americans are on some type of pill for some type of emotional or mental stress or what have you. You look at all those pills going in the system, what do you think it does in altering the genetic portions of people? I think it does have something to do with it. You look at foods, processed foods, so on and so forth, more preservatives. Is that really healthy for us? So now we question things of what we eat. I know I said this just a couple weeks ago, a banana. You could smell a banana in a back kitchen, open up the front door, and you ran to that banana. At least I did. I love bananas. You would run. I would run to that banana because I could smell it. Now, you put a bowl in front of you. Good luck. You open it, you might have a little fragrance. Okay, these guys are having some dialogue. Good. But, you know, when you pop it open, maybe. And that's another thing. You don't use that long stem to break it. You actually peel it from the bottom, the little nipple on the bottom. That's how the monkeys eat them and open them. I learned that from the monkeys. I can adapt. So can you. But seriously, there you go. There goes another. Who would have known something so silly like that? But monkeys eat them from the bottom, not from the big portion. So, you know, we have to get into our kids' lives more. We have to be involved in their activities at school. Oh, don't get me wrong. I love the parents that go and follow their kids, whether it be that they're on a soccer, football, baseball league, swim league, cheerleaders, gymnastics, what have you. I think that's great. But really, believe it or not, sometimes that may not be enough. And being involved in your children's studies, and again, 2010, the government, the bureaucrats got rid of cursive. They can't read the Constitution. They can't read my chicken scratch or your chicken scratch. And again, think about that one. Chicken scratch, hieroglyphics, but we can read it. That's a way of communication. That is a basic foundation of the United States in the Declaration of Independence, in the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the Articles, the whole 9 yards. They didn't have computers. And the thing that the teachers are actually doing is dumbing down. Harvard University just recently asked the federal government for their students to get food stamps. By the way, their endowment is like 53 billion, I believe, dollars. I believe it's 53 billion. They've got that sitting aside. Some of those professors make $400,000 to $500,000 a year, $500,000 a year. And you see what these kids are coming back like in half these cases. Oh, yeah, here you go. Crystal Marie says things have definitely changed as far as food is concerned. So I can't remember who told me. I wish I'd like to give them that credit. GMOs. Oh, gluten-free. Gluten-free. That's a new thing. Oh, you see gluten-free, you got to buy it. It's a good thing for you. And it all means is that there's no wheat in that product. Wheat's a decent fiber, believe it or not. Maybe not everyone should have it, but at least just know it's nothing fancy. They just took wheat out of the product. Maybe that's a part of an experiment for another product that they can remove still something else and see if the human body can sustain on the preservative garbage that they're feeding us. My girlfriend bought a wonderful little box of biscuits. It had sesame seed nuts, poppy seed nuts, it had fruits in it, and so on and so forth, little crispy things, right? You look at it, whoa, this has got to be good. Folks, Y-U-K-A, Yucca. You got to get that app. It's a carrot, Yucca, Y-U-K-A. You've got to get that app on your phone because you can screenshot the barcodes. It will tell you about that food, if it's good or if it's poor or if it's good. It has a rating system up to 100. And if it's poor or even if it's good, you can go down, scroll down it, and the next thing you know, you've got other products similar to that particular, say, biscuit, that breakfast biscuit that you want, and they'll let you know what the good ones and the bad ones are. I've never been computer savvy. It's the first app I have placed on my phone. And I know how to use it. If I can know how to use it, you can know how to use it too. And you can learn about what the foods are because the foods are doing a lot of damage. I mean, seriously, a lot of damage. Gluten-free. Okay, gluten-free beer. Well, you can always stick with just barley and hops, and rice. Rice makes a good sake. But seriously, between the pills and the food, and now we're looking at so many things that are time. It used to be you went to work on 3 shifts, 8 to 4, 4 to 12, 12 to 8, technically. But now we've got a hodgepodge. We've got this thing called technology. So a lot of people work from homes and blah, blah, blah. They don't, or unless they work in a factory or some kind of manufacturing, processing, production plant, they're not going to have the flexibility, of course, to get into technology as much, nor the activities. But the thing is that it's a timing thing. And the most important thing you can give someone is your time. I've said this before. Sometimes people want you to listen to them. Like right now, I do this because I'm hoping that you'll listen. Hope we get something out of it, because I care. And I care a lot. I want the best for all of us. But you see something going wrong, you're supposed to say something. I think I mentioned this before also. I'd get hit by a nun, with a ruler on my hands, or by a priest with a pointer or whatever. All the way home, I'm getting hit on my butt. Why did you do that? This is 1966, by the way. Getting hit on my butt by people, aunts, uncles, cousins, you name it. Why and how did they know all that? There was no cell phone. In fact, I'm not even sure if we had a house phone. Actually, I think we did. But seriously, folks, people were that involved in the community. And if you did good, you had an aunt, uncle, cousin, friend of the family come up and give you that attaboy or attagirl. Words of encouragement. That's another thing. This SEL is they're going after the emotions. They're not going after the soul. Oh, they're trying to steal the souls, no doubt, of the children, no doubt. But they are not protecting the children. They are taking away the rights of the parents. Right now, we've got amok. And I'm going to hope to just bust so much wide open, because this insanity has got to stop. Like I said, that one song regarding I'm Just Saying, that's going to be played beginning of every one of my episodes. I have to do it. I've got to do the Pledge of Allegiance. I've got to do my Constitution. I don't expect anyone to be here at 5 to listen to all that again. But those are values of mine that I really, really care about. And this is what you guys should do and you gals should do, is give those values that you really care about. Have those hearts of hearts. Take that time and have that discussion with your kids. So many of them are just boxed up in their cell phones, on their computers. They're so heavy, some of them can't go out and play because they don't know how to go out and play. But they need to play. They need to exercise. They need limitations on the cell phones and on the computers. Time restrictions. It would benefit the household doing it like that. It really would. I know it did me. My son going during a trip, Dad, I'm going to call my wife. Right on. Tune it out, so on and so forth. It's a respectful thing. I love saying thank you and please. I really do. I really like to open a door for people and say thank you. I mean, you're welcome, when they don't even say thank you for me holding the door open. It's a simple thing that I really do expect. And it's a simple thing I really do hope to get. And it's a simple thing of that just short interaction of society. You know the good from the bad. When you open a door and they walk in and don't say a word, they don't have any upbringing. I think that used to be called, they ain't got no upbringing down in Georgia, Florida. They ain't got no clue. And that's what we have to do, folks. We've got to tighten down now, and we've got to look at where we're at. I want to give a big reach out, by the way. Here we go. Let's see what's going on here. Telephone, tell a mom, tell a neighbor. The truth will beat you home. Dean, that's classic. Oh, my goodness. I have got to. Thank you. I like that. Oh, gosh. I don't know. It said, I guess your comment is hidden. Kimberly Gallard, shocker. Okay. I guess he was expecting it. Wow, your comment is hidden too. Ain't got no home training. Yeah, some of these people do. I can't believe that are they actually hiding comments? I guess they are. I don't know. I hope they aren't. I just opened them all up. But you know, folks, I really do care about my state, my country even more now. I mean that. And why do I say that? I don't think any man or woman, in my opinion, that was willing to obviously go into the military, wanting to get an education, wanting to protect this country, and serve in the time of war if and when necessary. We had so much blood spilled. We don't have near the recognitions throughout the year of that memory. We don't talk about the fallen heroes and the ones that went in and served. We are lacking in our military. We need more good people. We're not that far off from being taken over. I know it sounds like a conspiracy theory and all that crap, but we're not that far off from having some major damage and change to our country yet to come. And if we don't do something about it, if we don't get involved in our own communities, it's just going to run us over like a freight train. And right now we have identified the freight train in Cameron High School. And the nice part about it is we're taking the wood blocks from the back, and that steam engine is not going to get much more juice. And who knows? Maybe those wood blocks will end up burning somewhere else where they belong. As criminals, seriously, as criminals. We've got a complaint. Georgia is hot today. Bomb threat, Fulton County, Georgia. Whoa. Wow. There's been a Jewish center evacuated about 2 to 3 hours ago. We've got these Looney Tunes. I just spoke about them earlier. We've got these Looney Tunes. We need law and order. We need to have a police force that can just zero in, a SWAT team that can take out, and I do mean take out, not necessarily, well, they can always remove it, but take out that criminal, those criminals. That would be another thing as governor. I don't know what our laws are about these executions and these people that are sitting in jail. I'm going to tell you what, time is ticking and it's going to just go by that much quicker if I get in. If allowed, I will figure out something. We've got to get people on death row that we know belong on it. Got to get them out of the money system. Don't need to be feeding them at all. Don't need to be babysitting them and giving them shelter at all. Folks, it would be a tough job. But I think I'd be okay with it. I really do. Here we go. My youngest is supposed to go in the Army next spring after he graduates. But we're trying to talk him into going to college before he leaves. Dean, I understand that personally, and I'm going to go with what Jesse the Body Ventura. Okay, if you don't mind. I don't know how that got on there. Wow, Kimberly. Yeah, thank you, Kimberly. Ruth said, wow. I would have him go to a junior college to get the basics out of the way. That's what Jesse Ventura said. Take your basics 2 years, get them out of the way. Then you're more focused and you really have a better idea of where you want to go with your ultimate degree. And the nice part about it is, I hope you can be a great influence on that dean in supporting him going to college and him going there first, is to maybe help him realize he can get into the military, and being an officer, we need good men. So, all I can say is congratulations. I think your son's going in the right path either which way he goes. And you got to love him. You got to love him. And so Kimberly says she loves Cash Patel, American Badass. Yeah, Cash is one of them, no doubt, Kimberly. But the thing that we've got to do is, again, get back to the basic fundamental foundations of family. It's got to be through, I don't care whether you like it or not. Ultimately, you have to have some kind of faith, because having faith in a higher power of some sort. And I don't care if it is Moses, Jewish faith. I don't care if it is Allah of the Muslim faith. And if it's Jesus with God and Christianity, Buddhism, I look at it like this. Any and all of them are really striving for really the right things. Yes, we have extremists in all religions too. I just hope that no one gets hurt up there in Georgia regarding that Jewish center. And let's see what Dean said. That's the point. We're pushing him. There you go. More money, and he needs to have something he can fall back on if he gets hurt. Yes, he does. And well, we all know, if you can build, even Dean, even if he learned as a hobby, small engine repair, working on lawnmowers and weed whackers and stuff like that, he's got something to fall back on. If you have a physical trait, you can be of service to someone, you can make money. College degrees are great. I've gone to college myself, so on and so forth. They're good. But service is good, and going in the military, I just hope you'll support him wherever he goes, Dean. And I know you will. I know you'll give him the best guidance possible. And brother, I just love you for, by the way, having that conversation a while back with me. We got a face-to-face going on for a moment, and it's nice to meet people. And again, it was nice meeting you, Dean. I hope things are better, by the way, as far as all that environmental crap from the trains. You'll probably clue me in more on that later, I'm sure. But, folks, again, basic foundations of family, and we've got to get our schools back to the basics of reading, writing, and arithmetic. We know when our kids are slow. We know when our kids are different. No doubt about that. You know the sharp bulb from the dull bulb. And you never allow the sharp bulb to tease the dull bulb, and you never allow the dull bulb to get away with any of the antics they want at any given time. You don't encourage them. You don't. There's another word I wanted to say. Not encourage, but not entitle. Enable. Enabling. These are things that are actually taught at home. So when you're enabling your kid, by the time they hit school, you've got some bad issues going on there already. And when the kid feels like they should have that Barbie doll or Barbie doll car because she turns 8 and she's old enough to have that. Oh no, maybe you don't deserve that. Maybe you have to wait till you're 10. Or the boy, the bicycle, so on and so forth. It's the parents who set up the consequences. And the parents should be involved in any consequences that occur or need to occur in the school. Parents need to go into school when their kids do and or make trouble. It's easy for parents to go to the school games, but how come the school just doesn't seem to have a better way of working with parents in punishing? I heard some stories recently, and again, I can't make this stuff up. A boy defends himself. He gets 2 days suspension, in-school suspension. The boy who beat him up or tried to beat him up, who started the fight, got a 5-day suspension out of school. And that was it. Or no, 3-day suspension out of school. One got 2, one got 3, total of 5 days suspension between the two. Crazy. Crazy, I say. I don't get it. How is it that the boy who defended himself got 2 days detention in school? If that's not really making a kid think twice about what they're supposed to, or making them doubt what they're supposed to or not supposed to do as far as protecting themselves, that's wrong. Because we have to understand the kid that's beating him up first. He's got problems. Well, keep the problems at the house. Let's figure out a way of getting programs together. Maybe those parents can raise their kids and teach them. And then we can see what they might come out like. Yeah, this whole thing's a big, big experiment. It's called life. Welcome to it. I want to tell you, everyone here, we've got great, right now we've got some great things going on with the Common Denominator Network. We're on Rumble as well. But the logbook, Kimberly, can't wait till you're running for office. I believe she's going to be running for a district committeeman, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on that. But she's running for an office in her area of Houston. And Chad and Sally from the Dakota, big shout out to you, brother. And little baby B. That's the logbook, by the way, guys. And of course, and she also, believe it or not, if you didn't know this, she actually got to sit down with Ted Cruz and meet him, and had, I believe, a luncheon of some sort. But got a picture with him, the whole 9 yards. He's in her corner trying to help her. That's a good move. That's a woman that's she's an activist and she's making things happen. Everyone can do this. Each and every one of you out there can do it to some measure or degree. And if you honestly can, I can understand some. I can understand one in particular. I love my auntie. I'll just say it like that. Because it's a matter of time, and energy. But encourage one of your grandkids or your children to get more involved, to find out what's going on. Because if we don't start hitting it here in homes, if we don't make these change, the start of life here in homes what it should be, which is respectful and loving, critical thinking, respectful, responsible, dependable. Hey, yeah, I know I can give Johnny the task of collecting the trash to the house. He does a good job. And that kid's maybe 5 or 6 years old. When he does the job, what do? Hey, go to the movies this weekend. There you go. Your reward. And we've lost that. And, we're getting close to the end of the program. But I want to go back to, we've lost that. And another thing that we've lost is we've lost what, for instance, Truck It with Sally and Chad have going on. They can talk about some serious subjects, but I love both of them. And I love them because they can be funny as hell. Which brings me now to the conclusion of this experience in life, this experiment in life that's going on right now, right in front of us. We're all lab rats. And they're going to censor and get rid of the lab rats they don't want to have in their room. Trust me. I know this firsthand. Again, stories to tell. I can't wait. I can't. But it's humor. We as a society have lost our ability to laugh. And when you can't laugh and you can't smile, you're not living a happy life. And I don't mean you should be cutting up every other minute, but my goodness, sometimes I can tell jokes. I'm proud to say this, by the way. Oh, thanks for the dad joke. He actually does think I'm funny, but he knows that's his ending for me. Like, thanks for the dad joke. And he liked the joke, by the way. But that's his little barb to me. I love it. It's that little, not wanting up or any, but it's just that caring, make me pay attention dad joke. But we've lost our sense of humor. In one way, I think we're lucky that we've lost our sense of humor, because I've got to tell you, this is no laughing matter. What this country is undergoing is no laughing matter at all. What our children are being subjected to across the board by a craft that I used to hold number one in my society, called teachers. At this time in my life, I'm hard pressed to trust those teachers straight out of the gate. Straight out of the gate. And that's sad. Very, very, very sad. So we need to be more community involved. We need to be more neighborly involved. We have to use words of encouragement, of inspiration, and aspiration. We have to look at a child that can't swing that bat. But guess what? They can swing that tennis racket. Notice what I just said. You can have a son that can't swing a baseball bat worth of beans, but they can use a tennis racket and be good. It's knowing your children inside and out. I lost that. I lost 34 years of that. But to see what he has become, to watch who he is, and to listen with him, and spend a little bit of time that I have thus far. Again, nature over nurture. God couldn't have given me any better. I wish a lot of you could say the same thing. And I hope that you do. I'm sure many of you do. Because we've got it going on. We have to help other people learn how to get it on and do it the right way. Thank you for this time. Voraciously, from the bottom of my heart, I love each and every one of you. I hope you'll be patient with me in particular. I've had some really weird weeks going on. I know that. I'm okay saying that too. Seriously, I'm okay saying that. I've not been quite my sort or sorts, but it's coming back. And I'll tell you what, we're going to have a lot of fun. We are going to be growing. We're going to grow together. I know we will. We need to make good bonds and friendships. Heath, Dean, Chris, Kimberly, Chad, Ruth, all of you, thank you very much. David, Lisi, thank you. And what the heck? Do you guys want to hear one more song? I think we can do one more song. And I mean, it's a good one. I've been wanting to do this. Tried to do it the first time, it didn't turn out well, but here we go. And we're going to share it. And let's do it.
Sucker punch somebody on the sidewalk, carjacking old lady at a red light, pull a gun on the owner of a liquor store. You think it's cool, act a fool if you like, cuss out a cop, spit in his face, stomp on the flag and light it up. Yeah, you think it's tough. Well, try that in a small town. See how far you make it down the road. Around here we take care of our own. You cross that line, it won't take long for you to find out. I recommend you don't. Try that in a small town. Got a gun that my granddad gave me. They say one day they're gonna round up. Well, that shit might fly in the city. Good luck, try that in a small town. See how far you make it down the road. Around here we take care of our own. You cross that line, it won't take long for you to find out. I recommend you don't. Try that in a small town full of good old boys, raised up right. If you're looking for a fight, try that in a small town. Try that in a small town. Around here we take care of our own. You cross that line, it won't take long for you to find out. I recommend you don't. Try that in a small town.
These farmers are dropping their own crops for the day. A friend is in need, and they've come to help.
It's what this community and a lot of our communities stand for. Somebody needs some help, you'll get it.
I'm kind of happy that believe it or not, there's still several people here. You know, that song's a great song, and yes, my opening's going to have I'm just saying on it, and I'm going to end probably with this one, but I still have one other guy that's a big patriot, and you guys all know Russell. You know, Russell is doing well. He wants to do more, and he wants to get more of his music out. So maybe you might want to consider really checking this guy out. He's a real good cat.
The song is for all Americans. I just wrote this last night. Well, some say I'm trouble, some say I'm extreme. 'Cause I love this country and the American dream. And I'll let no politician tell me what to do. 'Cause my blood runs red, white, and blue. Yeah, I was raised country with work on my hands. Well, you respect your neighbor and you respect the land. And I'll let no president tell me what to do. 'Cause my blood runs red, white, and blue. Yeah, my blood runs red, white, and blue. Yeah, Daddy taught me right from wrong. When to be humble and when to be strong. And I'll fight for freedom if that's what I must do. 'Cause my blood runs red, white, and blue. Now Papa's passed while I was off to war. And this country's changing, it ain't the same anymore. But I'll fight for freedom, yes, I'll fight for you. 'Cause my blood runs red, white, and blue. Hope you like it. Keep the faith, brothers. Stand strong. Fight for freedom.